Bitcoin is emerging as the world's reserve capital network. People are realizing that Bitcoin is better than real estate. It's better than stocks. There's not a single company or real estate property that you would rather own for the long term than Bitcoin. So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the U.S. government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the U.S. gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks. So their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
Michael Saylor has been on his Bitcoin campaign lately, and he basically lays out the game plan for the United States, basically to checkmate BRICS, to force them to sell their gold and come into the Bitcoin network, but the United States could be the first mover if they make that play. And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video.
Hey guys, sorry for the quick interruption, but if you're interested in trading MicroStrategy options, any other stock out there, Bitcoin, Solana, or any other crypto out there, you can now do that on MooMoo. And if you sign up with our affiliate link, which we pin in the comment section, also in the description below, when you sign up and deposit any amount, you're going to receive up to 20 free stocks, and each one of these stocks could be valued at up to $2,000. So make sure to sign up with MooMoo. Go get that free money. Now let's go ahead and get back to the video.
And to piggyback on that, if you guys want some free stuff, we can't overemphasize this. You might as well get these 20 free stocks, each valued up to $2,000. Right here, the link is in the description below. And if you want to join our Patreon Bitcoin Bros Club, it's growing pretty fast. We appreciate all your support there. Join here, right below that link. Why not get some free stuff? Everybody likes free stuff. And then getting straight into it, the first update we have, One Nakamoto is a Bitcoin superpower, but you see here the US spot ETFs hold 1.1 million Bitcoin. And then you see Satoshi's wallet, Binance, major exchange, Microstrategy has climbed the ranks and surprised a lot of people over the past 4 years. Some people still don't understand what Microstrategy is doing. Are they a software company, a Bitcoin bank, a Bitcoin growth company? We've talked about that before, but we'll show you a couple clips here before this video's out on some people just don't get it. Adam Beck is weighing in. He's saying, in his opinion, the Bitcoin S-curve may enter steeper years now. If we're past gradually phase onto suddenly, new users compounding, adoption effects, invalidating, diminishing returns, halving theory, upwards to the S-curve top is like Hal Finney's Jan 2009 $10 million per Bitcoin estimate. You don't know what he's talking about. Hal Finney predicted this way back in the day. I think 2011-ish. Hal Finney was an early adopter. Rest in peace to him. But as an amusing thought experiment, imagine if Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system and used throughout the world. Then all the total value in the currency would equal to all the total value of the wealth in the world. Current estimates of total worldwide household wealth that I have found range from 100 trillion to 300 trillion. With 20 million coins, that gives each coin the value of around $10 million. So we still have a long way to go. That's 100x from where we are right now. Michael Saylor's base target is 13 million within 21 years. Do the math. And right here, Bitcoin is the next wave to a $2 trillion force, the 7th largest asset, fastest growing, most popular, most interesting, most digital, most useful, most global, most everything. Bitcoin, once again, is climbing the ranks. Right on Apple's tail, Amazon, Microsoft. Bitcoin is going to flip all these companies when it's all said and done, and gold is on the horizon. There's been some skeptics from the All In podcast, specifically Jason, and we have a clip here where it's not Jason speaking, but it's an individual on their platform that's sort of really skeptical about MicroStrategy's playbook, but check out what they say about hedge funds.
And I think the interest expense on his convertible notes is 75 million off the top of my head. And by the way, I could care less about MicroStrategy. Like, I'm not close to it. I'm not involved.
Yeah.
I don't know any hedge funds who own it.
No horse in the race.
Yeah. I think a lot of hedge funds are short MicroStrategy, but I have no horse in the race.
So you actually seen Jason chime in there. He's not a big advocate for what Michael Saylor is doing with MicroStrategy, but what this gentleman here said is that a lot of hedge funds are short MicroStrategy. Why is this important to understand and note? Because there's a huge pent-up demand for MicroStrategy on the other side. And if you got big players shorting it, that calls for a massive short squeeze. I don't think you understand when this squeeze happens, how high the price could actually go for MicroStrategy per share. And then look here, Michael Saylor still at it. He's saying still too much blue on SaylorTracker.com. So what exactly does this mean? Well, these green dots are his buys. He's been buying every single quarter, but as of late, he's been buying, it seems like, every single week. And why is this important? For the 5th week in a row, Michael Saylor posts the Saylor Bitcoin tracker. And what happens afterwards? MicroStrategy always buys more Bitcoin the very next day. If MicroStrategy acquires another 17,900 Bitcoin, they will officially control 2% of the Bitcoin supply, or 420,000 Bitcoin. It's actually over 2% because Satoshi's wallet hasn't moved, coins have been lost. But you get it, 21 million Bitcoins, 2%. That's what they'll officially own if this is what the announcement that comes tomorrow. Expect an announcement tomorrow. And with that, let's hear the latest from Michael Saylor on one of his podcasts explaining why MicroStrategy is needed in the Bitcoin ecosystem and why there is a pent-up demand for volatility in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Let's hear from Michael.
Yeah, I think the end game is to securitize the entire asset class, securitize the asset class, and so when we say we're a treasury company, what we mean is we're the institutional bridge between a high energy, volatile crypto commodity, that thing we call Bitcoin, with 60 AR, 60 volatility. What that means is it's always going to be higher performance than the S&P index. It's always going to be more volatile than the S&P index. As it goes from $1 trillion to 250 trillion, as it merges, the S&P will adopt Bitcoin and their performance will drift toward it, and Bitcoin's performance will drift toward the S&P. But as long as we're sitting between conventional equity capital and this crypto capital, we can arbitrage the difference. And as long as we're sitting between 60 ARR, 60 vol, and the bond market is 6 ARR, 6 vol, 5.5. So you have fixed income, which is 5.5. You have equity, which is 15.15 in the traditional market. You have this raw energy source, which is 60.60 in the crypto economy, which is 24/7, 365. No one can stop it. Chinese, Russians, Africans, South Americans, people can panic sell 10 billion of it on Saturday night through one of the 14,000th exchange in the world, or 1,400. So you've got this raw thing. And then you've got this traditional market. And what we've said to our investors, and I think they're starting to understand now, is so we're going to strip the volatility, strip the performance, strip the risk off of the bottom of the capital structure, give you a 6 to 12% investment grade instrument to invest in, a 12 to 24% high yield instrument to invest in, a convertible investment that gives you 75% of the upside to 100% of the upside, but 10% of the downside. And then when we strip those performances and those vols via those fixed income instruments, you're talking like, say you raise 100 billion in capital. Well, you're grabbing 60 to 65% of the economic boost for the equity, for the MSTR equity. So when I sell 100 billion of fixed income, I'm going to tax $60 billion of boost onto 40 billion of equity on the MSTR side. That's how we get to 2x Bitcoin or 2.5 or 3. And of course, the real magic of the story is the baseline is Bitcoin is raw commodity. You either buy that on Coinbase, or Bitcoin is wrapped. You buy IBIT from BlackRock. That's the baseline. But it turns out most of the world doesn't want that. I mean, a lot of the world wants high voltage. They want 10x leverage. Susquehanna wants 10x leverage. Millennium, Soros, they want to be up there in the stratosphere. And then some people want, the MSTX, MSTU, those two ETFs raised $4 billion in a matter of weeks, no marketing. They want 4x, 3x Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is 1.5 to 2x Bitcoin. So some people want to be up there above the baseline. Look, if you believe in Bitcoin and someone can give you 2x Bitcoin and they can do it with intelligent leverage or with a balance sheet you trust, why wouldn't you want 2 times whatever you wanted, right?